This is a full story. Kitten wishes you all a happy and enjoyable story. 3 years after our marriage, Hailey had 3 miscarriages. The doctor said her body was severely damaged and that pregnancy would be dangerous. I was heartbroken and decided to get a vasectomy, but I never could have imagined. Not long after, she was pregnant again. When I got Hailey's call, I had just left the hospital. It was the last checkup after the vasectomy. The surgery was very successful. From now on, I could be completely at ease, and Hailey wouldn't have to face the dangers of pregnancy anymore. If having a child meant risking my partner's life, I'd rather not have a child for the rest of my life. Her safety and health are more important than anything. As I was thinking about Hailey, her call came through. "Hubby, we have good news and bad news at home. Which one do you want to hear first?" Imagining her smiling face, I couldn't help but curve my lips into a smile. "Stop joking around. What bad news could we have?" "The bad news is that your wife will need to lie in bed for a few months and will need you to take care of her. Hailey has always had a somewhat weak constitution." I immediately frowned with worry. "What's wrong?" Her voice was full of joy. "The good news is that you're going to be a dad. The doctor said that because of my previous habitual miscarriages, this time we need to be especially cautious. It's best to strictly bed rest to protect the baby. So I plan to stay in bed for a few months to ensure this baby is safe." In an instant, I only heard a piercing, buzzing sound in my head. It was impossible to stop. "What's wrong, hubby? Didn't you hear me?" I took a deep breath, trying to make my voice sound normal. "How many weeks along is the baby?" 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Counting today, I had tested negative for sperm 3 times in a row over the past 4 weeks. That's why the doctor declared the vasectomy a success. How ridiculous. I had cut off the possibility of having descendants for my wife. But my wife, she's pregnant? I clenched my throbbing temples and sped home. Entering the house, Hailey immediately reached out her hands from the bed. "Hubby, come hug me." Seeing me standing still, she slowly lowered her hands. With a face full of grievance, she looked at me. "Everyone else is thrilled to become a parent. Why do you look so unwilling?" I wanted desperately to find some hint of deceit on her face, but her eyes were as clear as ever, without a trace of avoidance or discomfort. Her tone was as affectionate and playful as usual. It made me feel like I was losing my mind. Could someone who had an affair face their partner so calmly? Is her psychological quality so exceptional, or does she just see me as a complete fool? I fought the urge to question her and frowned as I looked at her. "You suffered so much with the previous miscarriages. How can I be happy?" She instantly smiled. Pouting slightly, she said, "I know you're worried about me. Otherwise, I'd think you had someone else and didn't expect me to have a baby for you." Hailey is very beautiful. Her clean, soft, and delicate demeanor once captivated countless people. We met in our first year of college. In our second year, she accepted my pursuit. Our first love, we had been together for 10 years. I thought we would continue to be loving and faithful for a lifetime. But now, she's pregnant with some bastard child, yet still playfully teasing and smiling at me. It fuels the anger in my heart even more. I'd rather she had the affair openly, and we could part ways amicably. In that case, given our 10 years together, I wouldn't make things too difficult for her. But since she treats me like a fool, why should I be soft-hearted? I controlled my emotions and sat next to Hailey. She immediately grabbed my hand, intertwining our fingers. "Don't worry, hubby. I'll be extra careful this time. If it means lying down for 9 months, so be it. Having a little one with features and temper like yours and mine would make my life complete. It's because she likes children that we started trying for a baby right after our marriage. For 10 years, I've always indulged her and gone along with her wishes. The only time I didn't comply was when I secretly had a vasectomy to prevent her from suffering through pregnancy. But she ended up having a child with someone else and shamelessly talks about fulfillment. It's like being stabbed with a knife in my heart. Each breath feels like the blade stabbing deeper. It hurts terribly." I looked at her steadily. "Hailey, are you sure you won't regret this? There's no such thing as regret medicine in this world." Hailey shook her head without hesitation. "No regrets," I said slowly, "but I don't want this child." Hailey hesitated for a second, then suddenly with tearful eyes, held my hand tighter. "Hubby, I know you're doing this for me, but I love you more than you can imagine. I must give you a child, no matter how much suffering it takes. I won't regret it." How touching. So touching it makes me nauseous. I quickly pulled my hand away from hers and covered her with the blanket. Forced to smile. "All right, since you don't regret it, I'll make sure to take care of you." 10 years of sincerity honesty, exchanged for her lies and a huge green hat. If I don't take proper care of her, I'd be ashamed of myself. I put on a big, cheerful smile. I couldn't wait to share the news of Hailey's pregnancy with my parents and mother-in-law. I quickly made calls and contacted renowned obstetricians through various channels. While on the phone, I saw Hailey on the terrace, smiling at me. She might be laughing at how much of a fool I am. It doesn't matter. If she can act, I can act even better. After all, it's too cheap to just get a divorce. The higher I lift her, the harder she will fall later. Don't you have to go to work today? After I finished the calls, Hailey asked. I sat next to her and affectionately tapped her nose. No, I'm not going. And for the next few months, I'll handle any work that I can from home, spending as much time as possible with you and taking care of you. I just ordered dinner from Galaxy Restaurant for you. While you don't have any pregnancy symptoms yet, eat some good food to nourish your body, so you'll have the strength to support the baby later. Galaxy Restaurant? Hailey was surprised. Galaxy Restaurant is ridiculously expensive, and they don't deliver. I smiled. You love their food so much. If it makes you happy, I'll figure out a way to get it, no matter how difficult. Hailey pursed her lips. Hubby, you're so good to me. Nonsense. Who else should I be good to? I continued to smile. You're my precious wife. Even when we have a child, you'll always be my top priority. Hailey looked at me, and her eyes suddenly filled with tears. Hubby, geez, it's just a meal. Is it worth crying over? As I handed her a tissue to wipe her tears, I laughed. Don't scare me, my wife. Did you do something wrong that made you feel guilty for me being so nice to you? She tightly covered her eyes with the tissue and lightly hit me, her voice choked with emotion. Stop talking nonsense. We promised not to let each other down and to be together in the next life too. You're making me feel uneasy with your suspicions. It's annoying. Is that so? So you remember those promises too? I smiled coldly, but my words were extremely gentle. Actually, even if you like someone else, as long as you tell me honestly, I would never make things difficult for you. Hailey, as long as it doesn't involve deceit, I'm open to anything. She paused, then she sniffed and suddenly buried her head in my chest. It won't happen, Rocky. How could I not like you? I closed my eyes. My fists tightened slightly. I've already done everything I could with these hints. Whatever happens next, she deserves it. All right, no more tears. Princess, please lift your head and smile. She rubbed against my chest and smiled through her tears. Rocky, I love you so much. Thank you. That's not necessary. A chill spread in my heart, but I pretended to be deeply touched by her. I love you so much. I continued to chat with her, chatting endlessly. During dinner, I kept talking, and after dinner, we kept chatting. We talked about the baby, the future, youth, and memories. Non-stop talking, just to keep her from sleeping, until she was finally so exhausted from talking that she fell into a deep sleep. I immediately took her phone and went to the study. I quickly turned on her computer. As expected, when I entered the login password, it was incorrect. For both our phones and computers, and even our social media accounts, the passwords were all combinations of our birthdays and our anniversary. Because she once said that true love should have no secrets between each other. I've done my part without guilt. But she, who demanded this, has shamefully sullied her so-called love. I sneered, quickly accessing the terminal commands and cracking the password with super user privileges. Since Hailey's first pregnancy, she had quit her job to stay at home and recuperate. In these years, her social circle had been very small. She spent almost every day at home reading and binge-watching shows, and I couldn't imagine who she could have had an affair with. So I had to start by searching for clues on her computer. Hopefully, I could quickly find out who the father of her child was. Two people to deal with. I carefully reviewed her browsing history. I found that recently, she had spent the most time on Site B. Her login account showed not only her account, but also another username with a random string of letters and numbers. An alternate account? I went directly to the page for this alternate account. Every heart has a place where a memory lingers. I frowned at her signature. So after so many years of being pampered and living a comfortable life with me, her heart was still so filled with sorrow. I controlled my anger and scrolled through her posts. They were mostly cute videos of cats and children, with very few likes. Nothing unusual, but she posted every day without missing a single day. I patiently scrolled through these boring videos and suddenly saw a comment under a video from 2 months ago. It was a video of two cats cuddling and snoring. Someone commented, "It's never too late to be brave." An unrelated comment that puzzled me, but I subconsciously noted down that account until I reached a post from this year's spring festival and saw the accompanying text. I often regret, if only I had been braver back then, would I have been able to be with the person I liked, spending every day together for the rest of our lives? I repeatedly read each word. I am Hailey's Haley's first love. So when did she start betraying me and wanting to spend the rest of her life with someone else? And that person is still covertly responding and encouraging her? I almost trembled as I opened the account that had just commented on her post. The profile picture was actually a couple's avatar with her. I stared at their avatars, and Haley's earlier words echoed in my mind. I love you more than you can imagine. Rocky, I really love you. The more I thought about it, the more nauseous I felt, and I couldn't help but laugh with anger. Regretful behind my back, while pretending to love me. Fine. If you regret it, I guarantee that you will regret it for the rest of your life. The next morning, I brought breakfast to Haley's bedside, carefully feeding her. I washed her face and brushed her teeth as well. She hugged me and smiled. Hubby, are you really going to take care of me so closely? I was just joking yesterday. I'm more than happy to have this honor. I smiled at her. By the way, I called Mom this morning, hoping she could come to keep you company. She said she couldn't leave Xiaohan, so she can't come right now. Xiaohan is Haley's younger sister, who is preparing for university entrance exams. When I said this, Haley's smile faded immediately. So, it's okay for my mom to take care of you? After all, I can't leave everything at work. I've just negotiated a big project recently, and I'm afraid I won't be able to manage everything. Haley nodded. All right, then we'll trouble my mom? She'll be thrilled. She's always been envious of other people's grandchildren, so now she finally has something to look forward to. I said this with a smile, but my heart felt sour. I knew how much my parents longed for grandchildren. But for Haley's health, I resolutely decided against having children, even if it meant my parents would be disappointed for life. Moreover, I originally planned to deceive my parents and Hailey, making them believe that not having children was my fault. This way, my parents wouldn't blame Hailey, and Hailey wouldn't feel pressured, thinking her body was the reason we couldn't have children. My mother-in-law favored her younger daughter, and she favored her intensely. Hailey had suffered many grievances since childhood, so I was particularly sympathetic to her, wanting to give her the warmest home, so she wouldn't have to endure any more pressure and troubles from her family, and to protect her for life. But it's a pity. She doesn't deserve it. Not long after, my mom arrived with bags full of supplies. My mom, with a loving look, held Haley's hand. Before, you and your husband made decisions without telling us, and your body suffered due to inexperience, which broke my heart. Now that you've told us, you can relax and let Mom take care of you and the baby to ensure both of you are safe. Haley smiled with her eyes squinted. Thank you, Mom. Nonsense. You're the one who's been working hard. Just don't think about anything else. Stay happy every day, and Mom will take good care of you. Thank you, Mom. We're family, so there's no need for thanks. Oh, and you can't keep your phone around. It's not good for the baby, especially since you have to stay in bed. We can't leave any risks. But Mom, I'll be bored lying here every day. Bored? Not at all. Mom will keep you company and chat with you about anything you want, and you need to sleep more. Anyway, the phone must be confiscated. My mom was very efficient and immediately took away her phone. Seeing Haley's displeased expression and her pleading glance at me, I couldn't help but smile. How will she contact the baby's father without her phone? But don't panic. Haley, Mom's right. Also, the phone screen is small and watching shows can strain your eyes. It's better to use the computer to stream content. What do you think? Haley looked at me in confusion. Isn't the radiation from the computer higher than that of a phone? No, the computer's radiation is lower. I winked at her, signaling her not to let my mom take the computer away. My mom always trusted me. Just listen to Rocky. Haley understood and smiled. I pretended to take advantage of my mom's inattention and whispered to her, whatever you can do on your phone, you can do on the computer, and you can even make calls. Just turn off the phone to avoid my mom's nagging. Haley nodded repeatedly and gave me a thumbs up. I smiled faintly. She wouldn't know that she had already walked into my trap. My patience is limited. I just want to catch her and that bastard as soon as possible and show them some consequences. After having lunch with them, I made an excuse about work and quickly left the house. I work while keeping an eye on the screen beside me. As expected, Haley's computer soon came online. Because I had installed monitoring software on her computer, I work in network security. After 6 years of starting my own company, it has gained some fame in the tech industry. Since I have the ability to block various hacker attacks and fix difficult vulnerabilities, breaking into a network is also easy for me. And because my job involved a lot of confidential matters, I rarely talk to Hailey about work. So she only knows that I started my career in the tech field, but has no idea what I am actually busy with. I work hard every day to make money and pamper her, turning her into a delicate princess who only needs to be beautiful. Yet she's ungrateful and doesn't know how to appreciate it. I stared at the screen. Sure enough, she hurriedly logged into that site account. Whoa, a ton of unread private messages, which really shocked me. Bye. Why say we should break up? I really can't live without you. I promise promise not to affect your life with Rocky. Can you stop saying such hurtful things? Pregnancy is a good thing. I'm really happy for you. The baby you're having will definitely be the smartest and most beautiful. But are you so sure the baby is Rocky's? What if it's ours? Vi, don't be angry. I just love you too much. After learning you're pregnant, I can't focus on anything. All I can think about is your health and whether Rocky will treat you badly in the future. You always say Rocky is a big, careless tech guy and not at all sensitive. Then why are you in such a hurry to break up with me? Pregnancy will be hard and you need me with you. Even if we just chat every day, I won't bother you unless you say so. I just don't want to break up. Is that okay? Vi, why didn't you reply to my message last night? I'm worried about you. How did you sleep last night? I especially went to buy your favorite glutinous rice cakes this morning. I drove past your street and stopped by the roadside for a long time. Several times I couldn't help but want to go see you. If Rocky is away on business again, I definitely want to give you a good hug. I'm so heartbroken for you, Vi. You'll suffer so much in the next 10 months, and I can't be with you every day. I can only wait for your reply in our secret garden, but my phone and WeChat are always waiting for you. If you miss me, reach out anytime. Vi, love you. I almost threw out my breakfast. What is this? A pure-hearted literary scumbag. A shameless mistress, longing for someone else's wife, and also pretending to be a romantic saint? And he's calling me Rocky like he's familiar with my name? I'm furious, clenching my fists so tightly they crack. I suspected she was cheating as a way to vent frustration. But seeing the concrete evidence of her infidelity made me want to explode, even to destroy. All those days I was away on business, missing her. She was in a sordid affair with this scumbag, and deliberately chose a secret garden for the rendezvous. If it weren't for my suspicion due to her pregnancy and my own vasectomy, how could I have imagined she was hiding this dirty secret from me? How did she manage to cheat and still act sweet as ever with me? This is disgusting. I tore open my collar and took deep breaths to calm myself. Soon, I saw Hailey's mouse moving back and forth among the messages. Ah, what a pair of star-crossed lovers forced to only communicate secretly. I, a clueless big straight man, if I don't send these two lovebirds to the skies, I'd be defeated. As my eyes burned with anger, I saw Hailey typing a reply. My vision instantly turned red. This baby is Rocky's, I'm sure, and Rocky loves me a lot. I can't divorce him and hurt him. Tony, I've let you down. Please don't contact me anymore. Just bury the good moments between us deep in your heart. I'll transfer $1 million to your company as a token of my appreciation for your gentle care. Tony, live well. I will always bless you. She wrote and deleted, hesitated for a long time before finally clicking send. I almost ground my teeth to pieces so she can spend my hard-earned money so easily. Without blinking, she transferred $1 million and still talks about gentle care and eternal blessings. One who can't divorce to avoid hurting me, and one who stubbornly won't break up. Are you two going to die or what? I rubbed my throbbing forehead hard, forcing myself to calm down. Tony, transferring another $1 million to the company? I suddenly slammed the table. I think I know who this scumbag is. At the end of last year, I bought Hailey a commercial property, the most valuable location by the moat, a 200 square meter loft on 2 floors. I wanted her to open a yoga studio or a tea house or even a cat cafe if she liked cats. Anything she liked as long as it made her happy. This way, she could quickly get over the sadness from her miscarriage. At that time, I was so busy with projects that I was working around the clock, so I arranged for my secretary to handle the renovation. Later, the secretary told me that she chose a renovation company on her own. I was not at ease and asked Hailey directly. She said this company was recommended by an old classmate, had a great reputation and quality, and offered an all-inclusive price without any hassle. Because I didn't have time to supervise the renovation and heard it was recommended by an old classmate, I was reassured. To be thorough, I still carefully reviewed the renovation company's contract. I clearly remember that the company was named Tony Design. I immediately checked the company. Sure enough, the owner is Tony. No wonder Hailey posted such a regretful message during the spring festival. It seems love sparked during the renovation, and they regret not meeting sooner. No wonder she was so generous with the money. She once asked me what the renovation budget was, and I jokingly said there was no budget. She could choose any specification as long as she was happy. How wonderful, Hailey. You're really using my genuine heart to feed dogs. Well, this is easy to handle. I closed the computer. My eyes were bloodshot. With my mom keeping Hailey company every day, chatting about everything and anything, She had no time to worry or think too much. Combined with my constant care and concern, Hailey had no suspicions whatsoever. I watched as she continued her daily exchanges with Tony on her alternate account. She claimed she wanted to break things off, but kept sending seasonal, bittersweet messages full of unresolved emotions. It was absolutely disgusting. And to rid myself of this disgust, I was also quite busy. I recruited 6 or 7 friends, each taking turns to visit Tony Design's office to inquire about renovation projects. There were standalone villas and large apartments in the city center. One of my older friends even brought a newly built shopping center in the city to discuss with Tony Design. To roughly calculate, if these deals went through, Tony would make at least 15 to 18 million. For a small design studio like his, that amount could easily knock him out. Sure enough, he couldn't contain his joy and shared the good news with Hailey via private message. "Vi, it must be the luck you brought me. I've been so busy lately, and I might even have a net worth in the millions by the end of the year. We should celebrate then." "Really, Tony? Congratulations. I've always said you have unlimited talent and a bright future. I'm truly happy for you." I sneered as I read their chat history. "Look forward to celebrating your good fortune." The days of spreading the net passed quickly, but I felt I was still a bit impatient. On a certain day, in a fit of irrationality, I ended up meeting Tony through a friend. I really wanted to see what kind of person this scumbag was. To make Hailey, who had such high standards, fall for him, well, thick eyebrows, big eyes, red lips, and white teeth. A fine-looking man, but he wore makeup. His face was powdered whiter than flour. Even before approaching, I could smell the strong perfume. I didn't understand. How bad could he smell to go to such lengths to cover it up? And he bowed and smiled as soon as he saw me. If he had a tail, he'd be just like a dog. All right, I wouldn't be so humiliated this time. A person who is inferior in every way, yet Hailey still cheats. Is she so accustomed to delicacies that she wants to taste even the excrement? Such blindness and stupidity. On the way back to the office, I sat with a cold expression. Suddenly, I received a call from a friend. My previously unhappy mood lifted slightly with excitement. Good, everything is in place. The net is almost ready to close. I purposely didn't shave for 2 days and didn't change my shirt. When I got home in the evening, I was obviously preoccupied, not like my usual smiling self. I sat next to Hailey, feeding her red date porridge spoonful by spoonful, but I was so distracted that I ended up splattering her face with soup. "Hubby, what's wrong? Are you troubled by something?" I quickly shook my head and forced a smile. "No, just tired from lack of sleep these days." "Then go rest quickly. Don't worry about me. I'll be going to sleep soon." "Okay." I nodded, got up, but then acted reluctant and went back to hug her. "Hailey, if you'll go through a lot of hardships with me in the future, would you blame me?" Hailey looked startled. "What's going on?" I forced a cheerful smile. "Nothing, I just saw a news story on the way today and felt a bit sad." "Forget it, go rest." "Hubby," just as I was about to respond, loud noises came from downstairs. I panicked and urgently warned Hailey, "No matter what happens, don't move. Don't risk anything with the pregnancy." Without waiting for her response, I hurriedly ran downstairs in 3 steps at a time. I even forgot to close her room door in my panic. She could clearly hear the commotion downstairs. When my mom saw me coming down, she quickly grabbed me. "Rocky, what's going on?" I just opened the door for them, and they barged in, saying something about collecting debts. "What debts do we owe?" "Mom, don't panic." Before I could finish, the lead man approached me. "Mr. Rocky, it's been a while. I usually handle matters politely first, but it's not right for you to keep avoiding business discussions, is it?" I put on a forced smile. "Mr. Petter, please have a seat. Let's talk things over. No need to sit. I'm here to tell you that the deadline is 3 days away. You need to move out of here within 3 days. I'm taking back the property." "What?" my mom exclaimed. "This is our house. On what grounds are you making us move out?" I quickly held my mom's hand. "Mom, don't worry. I'll explain everything." Mr. Petter waved his hand dismissively and sneered. "No rush. There are still 3 days. Mr. Rocky and his family should discuss it, and we'll come back in 3 days." As the group swaggered out, one person deliberately pulled down a few potted plants from the entrance, making my mom stomp her feet in distress. "Rocky, what's really going on? Tell Mom the truth." "Mom, Before I could speak, Hailey's crying echoed from upstairs. "Hubby, can you come upstairs? I'm scared. Don't frighten me." I rushed upstairs, sat by her bed, and held her hand tightly. "Don't worry, Hailey. It's nothing serious. I didn't want you to worry, but Mr. Gao's people have come to our home." "What's happening? Why are they trying to take our house?" As I spoke, My mom also entered the room, looking at me with concern. Tell me, son, if there are difficulties, we'll face them together. Your father still has a lot of stocks and funds. I'll call him to sell them all. If necessary, we can sell the house. How could we not overcome your troubles? Seeing my mom's eyes, I couldn't help but feel tears welling up. Mom, Hailey, I've run into big trouble, I said in a hoarse voice, speaking slowly. We were absolutely confident about a new project, so we signed a bet agreement with the investors. But the economic situation has been poor over the past 2 years, and we can't meet the expected returns. No matter what I tried, we couldn't make up for it. Now that the agreement is up, I have to pay tens of billions. Tens of billions? Tens of billions? Both my mom and Hailey exclaimed in unison. I dejectedly nodded, not to mention the house and assets. Even if I put the company up as collateral, it wouldn't be enough. Even if I managed to make a comeback later, these debts would weigh me down for half my life. At least your parents are unaffected. What I feel most sorry for is Hailey. Right now, she's in a weak condition, and with this situation, she'll have to bear the debt and worry with me in the future. I really can't bear to see Hailey go through this, but there's nothing I can do. I've been stressing out so much that half my hair has turned white. I said this while taking off my hat. The white hair I had specially dyed a few days ago was glaringly noticeable. Hailey covered her mouth, tears immediately welling up. Seeing this, my mom hurried over to hug her. Hailey, don't cry. You're most sensitive to emotional fluctuations. Don't be afraid. Your parents are here. We're not old yet and can help you bear the burden. Mom. I turned my head, pressing my forehead against the wall, and started pounding my head with my fists. Rocky, stop this. Show some responsibility. My mom suddenly scolded. I was startled. Debt? So what? I believe in my son. Don't talk about tens of billions. Even hundreds of billions in investments, you can handle it. Just pull yourself together. We can get through these difficult years together as a family, and things will get better in the future. Looking at my mom's determined eyes, I felt a pang in my nose. Mom, tens of billions in debt isn't something you can just attract investments for. It's not that easy. Shut up. As long as you don't give up, there's nothing you can't accomplish. You're worried about burdening Hailey and your mother-in-law, right? I have an idea. Would you like to hear it? I nodded. Hailey wiped her tears and asked, Mom, what is it? My mom sighed and tightened her grip on Hailey's hand. Legally, both spouses share the debt, which can't be avoided. But your health can't handle stress and anxiety. If you divorce, Rocky's debt won't be your responsibility. Hailey's eyes widened slightly. Divorce? My mom nodded gravely. I know you and Rocky have a good relationship, but this is just a legal formality to separate the debt and stress from you, so you can live in peace. Rest assured, when Rocky recovers, you'll definitely remarry. After all, you're having a child together. A family can't be separated. Whether you stay with us or go back to your own place, your dad and I will take care of you. Once the baby is born, everything will be easier. You just need to take care of yourself. I believe my son has the ability to overcome any difficulties. It's just that it might take some time. If you can't wait, my mom paused, her voice choked. If you meet someone you like, I won't force you. Mom, what are you saying? Hailey immediately cried out. I won't like anyone else. I've been with Rocky for 10 years. I only love him. Good girl, I believe you, my mom said, wiping her tears. So listen to Mom's plan. It's the best for you and my precious grandson. They only gave us 3 days, and who knows what they might do later. You can say Mom is selfish, but I've been waiting so long for a grandson and don't want him to be hurt. We should go handle the paperwork first thing tomorrow morning, okay? Hailey looked at me with tearful eyes. I nodded solemnly and then turned away, leaning against the wall and sobbing. Just follow Mom's plan. Hubby, we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. You need to pull yourself together. I believe in you. I shrugged and covered my face. I could barely contain my laughter. The divorce went much smoother than I expected. I wondered whether I had protected Hailey so well over the years that she had lost the ability to think critically, even to investigate my financial situation. Or maybe her true nature wasn't to face hardships together. Or perhaps Tony's recent rise gave her confidence. After all, one is flourishing and wealthy, while the other is drowning in debt and without a stable home. The choice was obvious. She didn't need to hesitate. In the end, she breezily signed the divorce papers, and I gave her not a penny of my assets. She was overjoyed and deeply moved. Hailey, take good care of yourself and the baby. I'm afraid I won't be able to contact you for this year. I'm sorry. Holding the divorce certificate, I looked at Hailey with a pained expression. Don't say that, Rocky. You need to keep going. The baby and I are waiting for you to come home. Okay, it's a promise. I push her wheelchair. My mom is going home to tidy up the house. I'll take you back to your place today. In a couple of days, my mom will come to pick you up. Hailey Haley frowned, clearly reluctant to return to her own home, but she still nodded. Then have Mom come get me quickly. I sneered. All right, just wait. You probably won't be able to wait for that in your lifetime. Thanks to my mom's superb acting skills, the divorce went off without a hitch. I had barely finished setting things up when I revealed Haley's infidelity to my parents. My mom had to hold back her anger and endure being near Haley for these past few days without hitting her. Finally, having rid ourselves of this plague, my mom was more than happy to avoid her. As we walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, just as I was about to put Haley in the car, a heartfelt call came from behind. Vi! I turned around. I couldn't help but laugh. What a sentimental fool. He actually followed us to the Civil Affairs Bureau. What a dumbass. Asking for a slap in the face. Tony gazed at Haley with deep affection, his eyes practically shining with excitement. Haley, however, clutched at my sleeve in panic. Hubby, I gently released her hand and turned to look at Tony. Last night, after Haley had gone to bed, I had pretended to be working in the study. I saw Haley's eager messages to Tony. Tony, my husband has run into big trouble. We lost tens of billions due to a bet agreement. We've mortgaged everything we own, and it's still not enough. My mother is heartbroken for me and suggested a fake divorce. What do you think? Of course, you should get a divorce. I've always said Rocky is unreliable, overly ambitious, and arrogant. He thinks a small success in his company means he can aim too high. Joint debt between spouses is no joke, Vi. You must act quickly and divorce him, but they've been good to me. It seems a bit heartless to do this. Silly Vi, do you really think they're good to you? They're worried about the baby in your belly, afraid of what might happen to the child. You're too kind-hearted, my foolish girl. Okay, Tony, I'll go ahead with the divorce tomorrow. We'll handle the rest later. The sooner the better, Vi. Don't let them change their minds and make it hard for you. Don't worry about money. I've already received several deposits, tens of thousands. Once the subsequent projects start, the money will keep flowing in. I'll treat you even better and show you that I understand your heart better than Rocky ever did. Thank you, Tony, for always being there and listening to me. I can't imagine what I'd do without you. Silly Vi, I will always be by your side, protecting you. Good night, Tony. Good night, love you, Vi. After reading their conversation, I almost fell off my chair laughing. What a perfect match. One brainless fool obsessed with design sketches, and one romantic dreamer living in a fantasy world. The only thing I could do was wish them eternal happiness. So, as I looked at Tony's smug face, I felt nothing but amusement. I nodded at him. Tony, what a coincidence. You're here at the Civil Affairs Bureau too. Tony lifted his head proudly, straightening his suit jacket. Yes. Look at this dog-like demeanor. He's about to get a big slap in the face. I struggled to keep my laughter in. I need to take Haley home. Or, if it's on your way, could you give her a ride? I have a bit of an urgent matter. I kept answering and hanging up on calls, pretending to be anxious and frustrated. Rocky. Haley switched to addressing me formally, showing concern. Maybe you should go ahead and take care of things. Tony and I are quite familiar. He helped me a lot with the apartment renovation, so it's a good opportunity for him to give me a ride. I couldn't have asked for more. All right then, I'll leave it to you. I have to go now. As I left, I turned back to remind Haley. Haley, don't contact me anymore? She nodded vigorously. Okay, don't worry. I got into the car, barely containing my laughter. The phone calls from friends I had carefully manipulated continued to come in. Rocky, how's the divorce? Let us know when you're ready to wrap things up. I rubbed my aching smile and looked at Tony's departing car. In a few days. Don't be lenient with him. Got it? We're just waiting for your signal. Let's see how we can crush this fool. It didn't take long for Tony's design company to collapse. The friends I found were seasoned business veterans. Dealing with a clueless, naive fool like Tony was as easy as playing with a pet. Several big bosses first showered Tony with praise, signing high-priced renovation contracts and paying a small deposit. They then invited him to lavish dinners, flattering him and painting grand visions. Tony had never received so much praise from top executives. Naturally, he got carried away, becoming complacent. To show his loyalty and talent, he started purchasing high-end, expensive materials even before receiving full payment. I had already arranged for a few key clients to turn around and breach contracts. Since Tony hadn't carefully reviewed the contract terms, besides the small deposit, he received no breach of contract compensation. He bought a massive amount of goods, amounting to over $10 million. His small design studio had an annual income of just over $1 million, far from enough to cover it. I was initially puzzled about how someone so easily deceived could run a company. My friends investigated and revealed that his startup capital came from a wealthy woman who had since passed away from cancer. So, He inherited the money and freedom, started a company with an empty head, and continued his old practice of courting wealthy women. Hailey happened to fall into his trap. Well, I had helped this ill-fated couple stay together. How perfect! The peaceful and pleasant days didn't last long before Hailey called me, crying. Rocky, are you still in North City? Yes, what's up? Rocky, I lost a baby. Oh, Tony didn't take good care of you? Rocky, what are you saying? Hailey sounded shocked and stammered. I've been at home, and Mom hasn't come to pick me up or answer my calls. Enough, Hailey. Stop pretending. I already know about your mess with Tony. The baby was his. Why are you crying to me? You're divorced now. Haven't you forgotten that? There was silence on the other end for a long while before a loud cry burst out. Rocky, did you deliberately set me up? I chuckled. Only now did she realize that the gravy train had left. So, Rocky, you're not in debt, are you? You're punishing me on purpose, aren't you? You're so cruel, Rocky. We were together for 10 years, and you've tricked me like this. Do you know I had my uterus removed? I can never have children again. Oh, now you know. I said, so what? You, Rocky. Hailey cried, gasping for air. Tony is the one who made me lose the baby. He's been taking out his frustration on me because of his business losses, beating me to a pulp. He said it's because I brought him bad luck. Rocky, we were once married. You should seek justice for me. I almost laughed out loud. Is she crazy? You two weren't inseparable. Your feelings weren't supposed to be that deep. I'm sorry, Rocky, I'm just a wooden head. I don't understand your little dramas. Rocky. Hailey's crying gradually subsided. Just as I was about to hang up, she suddenly choked up. Hubby, I have to confess, I did something wrong to you, but at that time you were always busy with work, and I had no one to talk to day and night. I was so lonely. I only spent one night with Tony. That day, we were discussing the apartment design, and he got me drunk. It wasn't voluntary. He forced me, but it happened, and I couldn't tell you. Hubby, I'm just a victim. Please forgive me. I swear, I only had that one night with him, and then I kept avoiding him. The baby really is yours, hubby. I swear the baby is yours. Hubby, I really only love you. I was so tired of listening that I couldn't help but laugh coldly. I had a vasectomy for you, Hailey. The crying on the other end suddenly stopped. I laughed again. Forgot that my old job was working with computers. There are no secrets in your computer that can hide from me. If you still have some face left, don't contact me again. Before hanging up, I heard a heart-wrenching cry from the other end. Serves her right. She didn't cherish it when I treated her well. Gave her a chance to come clean, but she took me for a fool. Now she's crying. But there's no such thing as regret medicine in this world. I decisively blocked her. Her life or death has nothing to do with me anymore. Just after hanging up, my mom stormed in. Come, you rascal. Take a look at Weatherly, Annie's daughter suits your eye. Ugh, here we go again. Ever since dumping Hailey, my mom has been constantly trying to set me up with someone. But I really don't have the heart for it right now. Maybe talk about it in a couple of years. At least wait until I've had my vasectomy reversed. I pulled my mom over and stood by the window with her. Mom, give me some time, and I'll make sure you can hold 2 grandchildren at once. My mom turned to look at me and gave me a punch. I'm not trying to force you. I just worry you're still stuck in the past. After all, 10 years of feelings, Mom understands. Starting a new life is the best way to heal. You understand? I put my arm around her shoulders, and after a long silence, suddenly said, Mom, how about I buy you a role in a movie? I think you're talented enough to win an Oscar. My mom was first stunned, then she pinched my arm, and we laughed together. The sky outside was clear, and the autumn was calm. As long as we act rightly and stand upright with a clear conscience, our good days are still ahead. And if you like Kitten's story, please follow and like it. Updated every morning at 9 a.m.